All right, August 1st, video tour of the vegetable garden. Haven't been out here in 4 or 5 weeks. We're on vacation and soccer tournament, so the garden's been largely unmaintained and is a little bit unruly. I figured it'd be a good time to kind of go through, talk about a couple things, because even though we have successes, sometimes we've got some failures. You know, in these 3 new raised beds over here, we did all of our winter squash. You know, spaghetti squash, butternut squash. I think there's a honey nut squash. That's the 3rd one. And I kind of paired it with some bush beans, some arugula, and some kale. And the squash really aren't doing very well. And last year we had a bumper crop of squash. Didn't even have to fertilize, and we just got 2 wheelbarrows full of squash harvest. And this year they're not doing great. I don't know if I got some mildew already building up early, powdery mildew or downy mildew, something like that. The arugula came and went really quick. I can kind of recognize that arugula really doesn't want to be planted like this, even though it's a good companion plant supposedly for these. Arugula, I think you want a direct sow and a nice big long bed and harvest the leaves early. And so I cut out the arugula. These bush beans, I don't remember the name of these bush beans, but they're okay. They're not as good as the Blue Lake bush beans. I think I like Blue Lake better than these. And I got something going on with the kale. Something's eating the kale, so this is maybe not the best we've ever done here. And so I'm gonna do some cleanup on these beds, and I might have to spray. I don't like to spray, but I might need to. So I'm gonna see if I can kind of resurrect these, put a little effort into them and resurrect them. But over here, back here in the back corner with the sweet lace or silver lace sweet corn, they're getting super tall. They're ready. They're pollinating themselves. I'm starting to see some heads of corn on there. I got beans mixed up in there, some pole beans and some melons down at the bottom, and they're creeping out and looking real good. So these 3 sisters things work so darn good. Such a great method. As far as the sweet potatoes go, they're starting to get, vines are starting to get long enough. I'm gonna try to train them up on the trellis. Really blowing up in this bed too. These 3rd ones over here are more of the bushing type, less of a vining type. You can see that they definitely don't spread out as much. But I think we'll have some good harvest off of that. Definitely take up a lot of bed space, no room for companion planting, so I might think of something different next year to do with them. Zucchini's been a whole nother world. Usually zucchini is just so prolific, and they have been prolific. With this vertical grow method that I was trying to do, it's got its pros and it's got its cons. Had a little bit of a failure here. The golden zucchini that was in the middle, I guess I didn't put enough ties on it, and the top of it broke off. So I had to replace that with just a crooked neck squash, crooked neck yellow. The Black Beauty that I had here, the original one just kind of failed to thrive. So I swapped it out with a new one, a new start, and then the start got rust really bad. And I did put a little bit of spray on it, and it kind of killed off the leaves that got sprayed. So I'm gonna trim that out, and maybe I can resurrect this Black Beauty. And this 3rd one was a heirloom gray zucchini. Really a great zucchini. I like this one a lot. It's super resistant to mildew, growing fast. I think it likes it here that we're kind of Mediterranean climate in Northern California, and so the Italian nature of it, I think, you know, being an heirloom really helped. But this whole method where you're growing it up a stake and tying it off every 6 inches or so, it works great. But if you miss a day, the weight of the fruit and the weight of all of the leaves at the top will break off the top of the plant. And once the top of the plant breaks off, it really doesn't come back and start regrowing. So I think this one's dead. I'll try the method again. I think it's a good method, but you just got to keep on top of it. And if you're going on vacations and not really paying attention, it can be detrimental. So I don't know, horizontal vining across the ground versus trellising it up vertically, jury's out. We'll see. So I'm probably gonna have to pull this one out. Hopefully I can get the Black Beauty back up and going, and then I've got this yellow one coming in, so it's kind of like succession planting. I'll figure out something else to plant in this corner. Over here in these beds, previously this was garlic, so I pulled all the garlic. I had the corn in there. I've interplanted with some sweet bell peppers and some onions. I got some leeks on the other side. These carrots are probably getting ready to harvest, so I'm gonna take a look at maybe harvesting these carrots. This bed is determinate tomatoes, and I'm starting to get some tomatoes. I can see them in here starting to get red. This was a Burbank, 2 Burbanks. They really went crazy. Got Romas over here. Romas coming in. I might have a little bit of blight on this, so I'm gonna try to trim this one out. Basil and marigold companions are always great. I kind of like to let the basil go. I do harvest some basil for pestos and stuff, but sometimes just having a plant as a companion is pretty nice. Second bed was the same story, more determinates. This was a cool midnight Roma. You can see these little purple Romas coming in. They're pretty cool looking. Florida weave method is pretty good. I gotta put a couple rows on of weave on these, contain them. You can see how the Florida weave kind of contains all these tomatoes without having to do the metal caging. It's a little bit wasteful with the plastic, but you know, sometimes you gotta consume a little bit. I don't remember what this variety was. It was another determinate, and it's starting to get tomatoes, so I think in another week or two I'm gonna be pulling some nice beautiful red tomatoes and maybe start canning. This third bed over here, this one also kind of a mix of stuff. I had carrots down the middle. I put in some peppers here. I got some Thai peppers and some chili peppers that I can dry and make into a chili pepper. Carrots are looking pretty good, which is good. I like to harvest those and get them out of the way. These are my Blue Lake bush beans on this side, and they're starting to harvest. So I'm gonna be pulling some bush beans out of this. These little companion beds over here, this dill got crazy. I got a ton of dill. I've already pulled a bunch of dill and dried it. So I'm gonna have a bunch of good dried dill this year. These are just great companion plants to have, and I'll probably have to start trimming these out. Nasturtiums are good. Unfortunately, my cabbage got the worms when we were gone. So caterpillar worms or something's been chewing on these cabbage. I hate to spray, but I gotta figure out spray, or I should have put a net over these, but because I didn't put a net because the dill is so tall, so maybe dill and cabbage don't work out so great. But these beds are prolific, but I don't know if that means I'm harvesting a lot. Back behind, the potatoes, you can see, have gone crazy. I hilled them a couple times, so I brought in a bunch of extra dirt and hilled them up. They're probably 3/4 full, 2/3 full of dirt. These big old, I think they're 25-gallon grow bags. So they're looking good. I kind of ran out of topsoil, so I can't hill them again. Otherwise, I'd totally hill them again to provide a little bit more yield. But I think I'm gonna get a ton of potatoes out of this as it is. So I don't know if I want too much more. Storage becomes an issue at some point. You know, that's so much storage space. But these are looking pretty good. So I can't wait to see these out once they start to turn brown and wilt back. We'll think about harvesting. And then the greenhouse. It's a little bit of a mess in here. I haven't maintained, but we're looking crazy good here in the greenhouse. All these indeterminate tomatoes over here on the left made it all the way up to the top of the bar. I'm starting to see the tomatoes in here starting to get ripe, so I'm starting to pull some tomatoes out just this last week. basil absolutely went crazy here. I'm gonna have to trim back this basil just so I can get in and continue maintaining the tomatoes. All the hot peppers, wow, I really got a lot going on with the hot peppers. These are to the point where I need to put some trellising on them. I'm seeing jalapenos already. I'm seeing some of the Sugar Rush sweet peppers. Haven't seen any habaneros yet. I'm seeing pepperoncinis, so I can start harvesting some pepperoncinis. But I got to get some trellising going on these. So I was gonna have a couple options for trellising, then I'm gonna try to figure that out next weekend. A couple random tomatoes that I had kind of extra that I threw in some grow pots up front. Cucumber vines, they've also kind of reached the top. I've learned a lot about cucumber vines in the last couple weeks. Kind of made some mistakes here. A couple different types of cucumbers. There's a monocleic and then a parthenogenic cucumber, I think is what they're called. And one of them's self-fertile and the other one's not. And you know, this is an Armenian cucumber right here. I've only gotten a handful of those, 2 or 3. So this is one of those ones that's not really self-fertile. So, and I kind of don't want to be out here doing fertilization with little, you know, brushes or whatever. That's just annoying. But this one here, English Slender, I've got so many English Slender cucumbers. I've probably harvested 15 pounds of these English Slenders. Every couple days I'm out here pulling a couple more cucumbers off of this one. So these English Slenders have been doing really good. One plant a little better than the other, which is funny. This one that's grown taller, less cucumbers coming off than this one that's shorter. I'm not sure why. These two over here, which are kind of this bush type pickling cucumber, not very prolific. I haven't had a lot of cucumbers coming off of these, and I need to do some pruning. I think they're a little bushy at the bottom. Looks like I may have a little bit of a mildew problem, so I might do a little spray in there too. I'm not sure. But over here in this bed where we've been doing these tomatillos have gotten huge, and I may have overplanted in the bed. The bed size might be a little small for 6 plants, but it's a mixed bag. I'm not sure if we're getting anything in here. I mean, I see the little husks. There's a little something in there, a little pea-sized something, so we might get fruit, but I'm not sure. You know, this is the first time in earnest I've tried to grow. Oh, there's something in here. So we're getting fruit on this one. So remember, there's 3 different varieties. Originally I thought this one on the left, purple one on the left, was an heirloom variety. I thought that was going to be the winner. It's kind of slowed down. It might not like being so close. I think I got an airflow issue. This one in the middle is looking much better than the other one over here. I think it's Verde, purple, and something else. But anyway, lots of basil hit the bottom. I can pull basil and do pesto, and just kind of closer look at the peppers. These are the Sugar Rush peach peppers, which are really big. These are habaneros here in the middle. I've just got to get the trellising on these things. And then here's where I've got more of these jalapenos and other things. We'll come take a look at these indeterminate slicing tomatoes over here. We got so many tomatoes in here. A little worried about airflow. I might turn on a second fan in here. Trellising, I'm a little behind on trellising. You see this guy's leaning over, but when you trellis these puppies, all you do is kind of wind them around, and then they're good to go. I gotta pull some suckers and fix some of these top ends that are starting to fall over. But yeah, we're looking pretty good. It's been a pretty good year so far.